What is happening, guys, and welcome back to G-Light Travels. First of all, my apologies for not being able to upload any videos for the last 6 months. You know, life has a habit of getting in the way of the best laid plans. Anyway, we're back today, and yeah, the video I want to show you today is basically based around a video I released last year. It's actually my most popular video to date. It's called Returning Home as an Expat and the Horrific Truth. Check it here from the link below. And yeah, as it's 1 year on from that time, I want to just update you guys on the good, the bad and the ugly on returning home as an expat. Okay, so let's start off with the good. So we've been back for a year now. It's been a very busy, action-packed year, and yeah, when you look back on it, a lot has been accomplished. We've done a lot of good things. I mean, one of the main motivational reasons for moving back to the UK was for my son's schooling, because he's coming to a primary school age. And looking back on it, we were in Singapore, living there before, and the options were pretty limited to us. Like, we could either send him to an international school, which costs around 30,000 Singapore dollars a year, or we'd be lowest in the pecking order of sending him to a local school. So yeah, our options weren't particularly good. But now he's settled in a school. We bought a property right next to his school, and that's going pretty well. That kind of segues nicely into my next good factor is property. Obviously, being a UK resident, you're entitled to buy property if you can afford it. So we bought a little house here, and that's much harder living abroad as an expat, to buy property, unless perhaps if you have a wife who is a citizen of that country. But for example, when we were living in Singapore, neither myself nor my wife were Singapore citizens, so we could buy property, but it was very expensive. It was very hard to do. And in some countries like Thailand, there's a quota on non-Thais buying property, and basically it's much more difficult. What else? Let's talk about visas. So getting a UK visa is never easy. Luckily, my wife now has indefinite leave to remain, so she can work now. Me being a British citizen, her ultimate aim is to get a British passport. So obviously, moving to any Western country, that's going to be tricky, getting the visa, but it can be done. You've just got to follow the guidelines precisely and submit as many documents as you possibly can. The more relevant documents, the better. And lastly but not least, moving back here in the UK, it's given me the opportunity to start my own business. Again, it's quite hard to do that living abroad. There's lots of rules, regulations, perhaps even foreigners are not allowed to start their own business. So that's definitely another benefit of moving back to the motherland. Okay, so next up, we're going to have a look at the bad and the ugly. Okay, so we've had a look at the good stuff. Let's talk about the bad stuff now. Obviously, moving to any other country, there's pros and cons that you've got to weigh up. Well, the first one is quite pertinent on a day like today. It's the cold weather in the UK. At least it is nice and sunny today. Let me just give you a little view of the sports centre I'm at the moment. You can see the blue skies. Yeah, but you know, that cold weather, that's something I never get used to. Aside from the cold weather, as my wife is Asian, it's harder for her to travel, particularly around this part of the world, Europe, and countries around it, because she needs a Schengen visa. Her Schengen visa recently expired, and when we were living in Singapore, they have the ASEAN region, and it's much easier for Asians and EU citizens and most Western countries to move around, get a visa on arrival. So that is definitely a disadvantage. Not a huge one, but is a slight disadvantage. Last but not least, you could view this as either very important or not so, depending on your point of view, is the food. Now that's one thing I really miss about living in Thailand, Philippines and Singapore, is cheap Asian food that you can get literally anywhere, from a street stall or through to an expensive restaurant. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can get a lot of Asian food here, more compared to the past, but it's definitely not as cheap, it's not as good, and it just doesn't taste the same. Yeah, so there's actually not that many disadvantages thinking about it. So lastly, the ugly. Well, this could be the ugly or the beautiful, depending again on your point of view. So have we considered moving back to Asia or moving back abroad? And to be honest, yeah, of course we have. But for now, you know, all those good points I mentioned earlier, the schooling, the setting up business, the buying property and so on, I mean, they outweigh all the benefits, I think, of moving abroad, for now at least. And there's definitely the possibility of, you know, doing short trips, 3 weeks here, a month there, working abroad. Because the great thing about my work now, I'm self-employed, is that I can travel and I can work anywhere as long as I've got an internet connection. So last but not least, I just came across this this lovely little bench. I believe it's for a ex-serviceman, SBS, Special Boat Service, who unfortunately has passed away. Just have a look at this, just pay our respects. So in loving memory of Ben McQueen, 1992 to 2018. So he was very young. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that video. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe below. And yeah, G-Light Travels is now going to be back, so I shall be uploading new videos at least on a weekly basis. Okay, thanks for watching guys, that's it for now.